Happy Michelle's Magical Monday and welcome to the Living Magically podcast. I am your host, Magical Michelle, and we are entering into the Eclipse season portal, and we're starting it out with the big 3-3 portal that's happening today. It's actually, if you're watching this live on today, it is Monday the 3rd, and we still have a few spaces left for the 3-3 activation at 7 p.m. But most of you probably won't watch this or listen to this quite yet. So if you're watching this or listening to it in the coming days, I want to give an overview of the month of March because it's, well, I hate to say it. I wish it were different, but I will just say it is a choice point for humanity. There's just no other way I can put it. Astrologers have been talking about this month for years. This exact place in time and moment in time has been written in the stars for quite some time, and we have a lot of things happening all at once. We start with this 3-3 portal. We had a new moon on the last day of February, so we're in what we call a moon that is moving forward and about to move toward a massive lunar full moon eclipse on the 14th, super early in the morning. So we'll be feeling that in the energy field, and that opens the eclipse portal. So this 3-3 gate, which has to do with the energy of connecting to the Christos or Christ consciousness, the feminine divine, the masculine divine in a unified force, is already in play. We see this energy of stepping into our understanding of who we are. We start first with the fact that Venus is in retrograde now. So Venus, the planet of love, the planet that rules our money, our homes, often our finances, and even our health to certain extents, has taken a review period, and it takes 40 days for this to happen. So it's going to be going all the way into the middle of April. And what to do and what not to do during this Venus retrograde. When Venus is in retrograde, it's going to be about our impression of ourself, our love of self, and there's a review. So if you're feeling off or stuck, first thing I don't want you to do is do something massively change-wise that wasn't thought out ahead of time. So don't cut your bangs on a whim or change something, make a major body change. And I'm not saying don't get a haircut, and I'm not saying don't get a tattoo, but I am saying make sure that it is well thought out and has been something you've been planning and thinking about. We don't want to do things right now that are reactive. And I think that's in every area of your life. You're going to see every single person on this planet taking a review of their relationships. That can be the relationship with your body. That can be the relationships of your family. This can be the relationships at your business. This can be relationships with your animals. This can be relationships with your children, your parents. So family, friends, but be clear. The most important thing is to be authentic to you first, because on top of it, the middle of this is the eclipses. We have a lunar eclipse in Virgo. Virgo, interestingly enough, has to do with our health. So we have this lunar eclipse that's all about looking at our health from a perspective, our environment of our systems and our organization. It's a very picky sign. And so I'm going to ask you to be organized, but not nitpicky, to look at your health, but not overjudge. It's more like a review period. So as we move into this lunar eclipse, we're going to be seeing change. We're going to see change everywhere. Doesn't matter. Nobody is going to be, not one person is going to get out of this. This isn't, oh, this sign's going to have more than that sign. I would say that every sign is going to be going through this collective consciousness change. So with that combination, we have that Venus retrograde, which is often review of the feminine aspects of life. But we're also going to see us moving into Mars in Aries, which is an action sign. It's not in retrograde. That's good. That already happened. It's already direct. But Mars in Aries is going to be about a little bit of aggression and possibly taking action. So what is it you need to take an active perspective on? What do you need to do? What do you need to get started? So getting going, and being careful not, because of Mercury also is going to go retrograde, be careful to not start a fight you don't want to have, because we are going to be having Mercury go retrograde on the 14th. This is going to happen the same day as the lunar eclipse. And so we just want to be careful we're not saying things we don't want to say, not making aggressive actions that we don't want to be taken aggressively. And honestly, I'm a little concerned about what that means for the collective. But I'm at this point, my big piece of advice is to do what you can do for you, and to do what you can do to make peace in your own heart. And peace comes from a place of no regret. So what can you do? You can start this major review that's going to be happening, that is happening. You're probably in the middle of that activating energy. That's what this 3-3 active energy is happening, to start us in that process. So when we are in this review, look at what is going to make peace in your heart. What is going to make peace in your mind? And how do you take the higher perspective? How do you see this from a place of what can I do? What is possible? And what shouldn't I do? What shouldn't I say? Especially with that retrograde, because we're going to have Mercury in shadow now. So that means that it's not fully retrograde, but like we noticed that things were a little bit clunky in our social media platforms today. We noticed that a lot of people are coming out from the past. You're going to see people from your past extra big with this Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde at the same time. So maybe there is a piece of making peace with somebody, but not necessarily to go forward with them, but to make peace with them, to say what you need to say. I've heard the word boundary tossed around just a little bit too much over the last week. And I think the overcorrection is putting up boundaries, where when I really want to see us do is make choices that just eliminates the aggression. So finding peace in your heart, finding a way to say it from the kindest perspective. Kindness is going to be the most profound thing you can do. Compassion for yourself first, and for others is going to be the highest thing you can do. And so these next couple of weeks until that 14th of March, there's a lot of review, there's a lot of reflection. Check anything that you need when it comes to traveling. Maybe this isn't the month you buy plane tickets, unless it's something that you're going to be doing really soon. Maybe this is the time to dream up a trip, but if you're going to be starting it, maybe this isn't the month to make big decisions. It's the time, because we're in Pisces, to dream. Get the information, create the vision board, take time for yourself, take time for replenishment, self-care rituals. Manifestation is still part of this. So if you're like, should I be manifesting right now? The answer is yes. And I might have people disagree with me, but I've been doing this a long time. I've been following astrology and these things and since 2000. And I really do think this is a great time for getting super clear and actually visualizing really deeply, creating vision boards and putting things onto writing and paper and speaking it into being for how you truly want it. This is going to be about self-actualization. This is about not tolerating. My friend Greg did a really big lecture about not tolerating things. And this is not the tolerating zone, but it also isn't the avoidance zone either. We don't want to avoid anything. We don't want to tolerate anything. And we may find that we are yearning for things, because the review period for Venus is to illuminate what it is you really truly want and desire. And Pisces is all about dreaming, and you're going to have so many planets in Pisces right now. We'll talk another time about Neptune in Pisces, because it's coming up later. So there'll be a lot to unpack this month. But what I really wanted to do is talk about what to and not to do until the 14th, which is where that lunar eclipse is. I feel like one of the most special things you can do right now is ritual. You can start creating formulas, and ritual is just that. It is an act to place into your subconscious a choice, an energetic choice point. And I am calling in the peace timeline. I am calling in the joy timeline. I am calling in my deep heart's desire timeline. So what is that? Get connected to what do you really want? What is it you wish for the world? What is it you wish for your friends? What is it you wish for your family? And come down to your true heart desire. That's what we see with Venus retrograde in the middle of an eclipse. So this lunar eclipse is about taking and getting really super duper clear, and take little tiny action steps, little tiny magical moments toward creation. Because we're still in Pisces, we're still in the dreamer, we're still in the psychic intuition, we're still in the downloads. In fact, I think that there'll be no more powerful, potent time for receiving information from the cosmos, to get connected to your spirit, your soul, your soul's desire. So, for example, I am going to be doing Priestess Camp in Kansas City with Rima. And so those of us who are wanting to be in ritual will be taking the weekend of the 14th. We're starting Priestess Camp that day. We'll be going into deep ritual and anointing ourselves with oils and claiming our priestesshood. This is what I mean by the power you can enact right now. Create mini retreat for yourself. Take an opportunity to deep self-care for yourself. Take time to connect with the most important relationships, and do that reach out. Maybe it is just a Zoom call or a phone call to connect to those you truly are in your relationship with and beloved, and maybe haven't spent any quality time with. And those that you are building a life with, whether that's a friend, a family member, your coworkers, anything you're doing in partnership can be elevated right now. So have a meeting, have a brainstorming, having a visioning day, or a time where you're looking at the person you live with or looking at the person you work with and sitting down and talking about how do we want to co-create. Just like how do we co-create the reality in this world? By holding the love wins timeline. Love will win. Don't ever doubt that. The high road will win. It is always meant to win. And yet sometimes systems and old ways of behavior and thinking and doing have to collapse to create the new. We're going to have that new moon eclipse at the end of the month. We're going to have a solar eclipse on the 29th. And at that point, you're going to see a lot of beginnings. So we have the endings create beginnings. So what are you ending? What are you giving your focus to? What are you giving your energy to? And choose wisely, because if you choose fear, if you choose to give all of the things that are ugly in this world all your energy, then you're going to fuel that timeline. Whereas if there's something you want to happen or transpire, even if it seems a little impossible, it seems a little out of reach, imagine it, visualize it, feel it, write it, dream it into being. That's the Pisces sun with all of this energy. Review how you really, really want it and meditate on it. Anchor it in. Choose the vibration of love and above. The way we're going to create a collective consciousness is to tap in, and every hour right now, tap in once an hour to just, I choose the joy timeline. I choose the peace timeline. I choose my highest timeline. I choose my highest health. My dreams come true. I choose to be in expansion instead of contraction. That's where we are right now. Pick the bliss body. Pick the emotions of, I'm going to surround myself with beauty and love, and take that exceptional whimsy and self-care. We had somebody pull the whimsy card. And what can you do with childlike wonder and whimsy and play right now? Can you create art? Can you read a book that you haven't had a time to do? Is there a podcast you've been wanting to look at? Anything that you've maybe been saving up for a good time, this might be a good time. Anything that's going to raise your vibration and bring love and joy and play into your heart. That's what we want in a Venus retrograde. And when we're in Mercury retrograde, we're going to review, reconnect, realign, replenish. So if it starts with we're probably going to do it. Realign, reconnect, reestablish. And the fact that these are happening in that time frame in between eclipses, it's a powerful time for magic, really. I know that that's possibly the opposite of what other people are saying, but I actually disagree. I think that it's the perfect time to create. We're going into the high growth season. When you hit March 20th, we are going to see us move into Aries. That's the astrological new year. That's the beginning of the zodiac moving through things. And it's smack in the middle of this season in between the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse. And the fact that it's a solar eclipse after a lunar eclipse means we're closing one part of our life and opening to another. And the equinox, the spring equinox, is about finding that balance, finding the growth, planting the seeds, creating the fertility. This is why we use eggs. It's the fertility, it's the growth, it's the opening of more light into our field, into our body. So it's the perfect time to create magic. And because we'll be in Aries at that point, Sun will be in Aries, it's a great time for fire magic or candle magic. So we've created a shaman magical retreat weekend, the weekend of the 20th, the weekend actually of the 22nd and 23rd to tap into that potential. So we're going to be creating candles and fire and magic together. And so there's lots of opportunities here, including an opportunity to join us for an oil temple on the 29th here in Orlando, Florida. So there's a lot of opportunities, and I'm going to just say, anytime you feel low, rest. Anytime you feel like you can do. Anytime you need to just be. But make sure that you're not falling into group consciousness of fear. If that's the case, do a clearing. If that's the case, release the consciousness. For those of you who have done theta healing, clear and retrieve your soul fragments on the most highest level. For those of you who have your Healy, I've been running astrological protection and protection programs and coherence. So if you're a Healy person, it's the best time. As I've heard a lot of people go, oh, I haven't been using my Healy. Well, now is the time. It's the best time to get your Healy out and just be using that, because everything you can do to raise your frequency raises the frequency on the planet, raises the frequency of your spirit, puts you on the right timeline. So every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. Use that term. Every day in every way, I choose my highest timeline. Every day in every way, I release what no longer serves me. Every day in every way, I clear and release any energy and soul fragments from the collective, any energy that is not mine, and send it into the plane of love. And refill with the light, refill with replenishment, refill, reboot, recharge, because you are the seed that's going to create new earth. We're planting the seeds right now. It's the beginning of high growth season when we move into March 20th. So we are doing the connection of what it is we're going to plant this year, what it is we're going to grow this year. And if you feel hopeless, reconnect to your desire. Move out of hopelessness and into desire. How do I want it to be? What is possible, and is it possible for me? And how do I connect to that? How do I bring myself back to my center and realign, reconnect, and re-energize? And if you have to do it 50 times a day, then you do it 50 times a day. If you need to, at least for this time, not engage in certain people because their toxicity doesn't feel good, then don't engage. I took a weekend digital detox because I didn't want to be engaging. Whatever it is you need to disengage with to raise your vibration. I spent a lot of time in meditation this weekend. I spent a lot of time reviewing and renewing my sacred commitment to myself. And yes, I was fatigued when I went into the weekend, and you may feel tired. And that's okay. You can continue to replenish. It's possible that you might feel like you need to take a nap every single day in March. Well, that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with feeling into what do you need? What does your body need? What does your soul need? But the big question is to ask yourself, what do I need? Instead of just pushing forward. This isn't the month to push. This is the month to receive and to allow and to co-create and to dream. We're gonna finish up Pisces season really strong. So go into the dreaming. There's a lot of planets in Pisces right now. So go into the dreaming. Feel into what is possible and what you really, really want. And hold that vibration in your heart so strong that it becomes an expectation. It becomes certain. That's the law of expectation, right? We become so connected to the vessel of allowing our truth to come in, allowing and receiving our power to come back to us. As we are calling back our power, we are being given sacred messages, sacred opportunities. And I do this through ritual. And a ritual just means creating a practice that becomes so solid in your life that it's non-negotiable. And this is how we train our subconscious to be ready to receive. If we're expecting it, if we're asking for it, and then we ritualize it, then we expect it. So that's what ceremony and ritual and meditations and activations do. And this is the most powerful, probably one of the most pivotal, important months we're going to see for the entire year, and maybe for a 2 or 3 year period of time. So just hold the line, hold your dreams, and hold your vibration as high as you possibly can. And you can always reach out to me if you need some help with that. I'm here to serve you in that. But our goal here is to live magically. And you've got this. Just remember, I've got this. And if you fall off the energy, just recalculate, just realign. There is no perfection. It's called a spiritual practice for a reason. If you fall out of practice or you fall out of a frequency or a vibration, just return to the center, return to the practice. And that is how we will hold the frequency and the vibration and live a magical life. So I wish you a happy 3/3. I wish you a beautiful week as we're moving into this energy. And I love you so very much.